Hi guys, and welcome to this WordPress migration video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, I had a few questions asking how you actually migrate a site from online to your local host. We've covered it the other way around and it's pretty much reversing the process. So I've got a site here, it's a Divi WordPress site, it's just a one-page scroller. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to migrate this, download it to my local desktop and get it working. We're going to be using XAMPP for this. I'm actually using an older version, but XAMPP is free software if you need to do this. And you can download it by just hitting XAMPP. There it is. And it'll take you to their site, download XAMPP here. And you can get a Windows version or a Mac version, however you want to do it. So if you haven't got that already, I should go ahead and download that and install it. It's very lightweight. Okay, so I'm going to put that away. And what we want to do now is download this site. So I'm going to go down to the dashboard. And in this first video, we're going to do it the easy way with a plugin. So I'm going to go to plugins. And there's many plugins out there that will do this, but I find duplicator is a great plugin. So we're going to go to add new. And I like to use the duplicator plugin. It seems to work fine for me. There's many out there that will do this for you, but we're going to use this one. So duplicator. There it is right there. Duplicator. And it's got 5 stars out of almost 2,000 reviews there, so it's obviously pretty good. So go ahead and install it. It's pretty lightweight. And activate it. Once it's activated, you'll see it appear in your left-hand menu here, Duplicator. What we want to do is go over to Packages and create a package, create a new one. At first, obviously, there's nothing there. And what this is going to do, it's going to create some files which will be our main files for our website and also our database or database. So we'll hit next. It'll give it a scan. Everything looks good here. Occasionally you might get an error, but usually it works absolutely fine. And if you get an error with this plugin, we'll show you a way to do it without a plugin in the next video. So we're happy, all good, green lights. Let's hit the build button. Okay, and there it is. We've got our installer and our archive. So I'll just click on them and as you can see, they'll download them to your desktop here. Now you want to go to those in a minute, put them somewhere safe because we're going to need them. So now what we're going to do, presuming you've installed XAMPP, and if you have, I'm using a Windows computer here, so if you go to your local drive, your main drive, it's usually the C drive, but it's the one that all your programs are installed on, you'll find it down here, XAMPP. Just double click on it. And inside, you're going to find a folder called htdocs. This is where we put all our websites that we want to work on locally. So I'm just going to double click on that. As you can see, I've got a whole bunch here already. You probably not going to have very much in here at all. You'll have a few little files like restricted and stuff like that in there, the default one. So I'm going to create a new folder, however you like to do it. And I'll call this fashion, which is what the site's actually called. There we go. Now what we need to do is browse to our folder that we downloaded those files to. And by default, they'll be in your download folder. And we'll open our little folder here and copy them across. Either Control C to copy and Control V to paste, or you can drag them from your downloads folder, and there they are. So we got those in there at the moment, but there's a couple of things that we need to do to set up to be able to do this. We've actually got to create a database and a user to be able to install our database to. And to do that, we want to go to our browser again. And this is where our site was just now. And to actually open the XAMPP software, you just need to type localhost. But before you do that, if you look down on the desktop here, that's the XAMPP icon there. You want to make sure you've got XAMPP running by clicking on the icon. And make sure that the Apache and the MySQL are both running. If they're not, you can just hit the start button over beside them. Once you've got that up and running, just open your browser, and all we need to type in is localhost, Localhost, localhost. And here we are. Like I say, I'm using an older version. I probably need to update, but it's been working fine for me. So yours might look slightly different. I know the newer versions have got the menu across the top here. But the main thing is what we're going to use is the Php Myadmin, and you will have it somewhere. Like I say, it may be in the top menu or maybe somewhere else, but you will have it, and that's what you want to click on. So click on Php Myadmin, and it's going to show you a list of databases. You may not have any at all, because if you've got a fresh install, I've got hundreds there. What I want to do is I want to go over to users. I want to create a new user, so I'm going to scroll down the page. I'm going to hit add user. And you can call it anything you want. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to call mine fashion. Any host, we're working locally, so I'm going to use localhost. And a password, again, you really want a strong one, but for simplicity, I'm going to use the same thing for all of mine here. I'm going to use fashion. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it into the password field here. And then retype it there, repaste it there. You can generate a strong password if you just hit that generate button. Okay, and if we scroll down a bit, I want to create a database with the same name and grant all privileges to this user. So we'll have a user called fashion, and we'll have a database called fashion also. And the user will have all the privileges it needs to install stuff. So good, we've got everything we need there. Let's scroll down, and down on below we've got a button that says go. So we want to hit that. There, now we've added a new user. I don't need to save that. For anybody that wonders what that was that popped up there, I have so many passwords and logins. I use a little plugin, it's free, it's called LastPass. And if your memory's not brilliant like mine, it's a great little tool. Okay, so we've got everything we need. We've got our database and we've got our user. So let's go back to our folder over here in our XAMPP htdocs. We created the folder fashion and we put our installer in there. So what we've got to do, we've got to browse to this folder here called fashion. And to do that, it's really easy. You just need localhost, because we're working locally again, and then the name of the folder. And then we've got to actually browse to this file, which is called installer.php. And if you look at the duplicator documentations, they tell you how to do this. But it's installer, and that's a PHP file. I just go on the properties. You can see it's a PHP file. So it's installer.php. Close that one up. So we want to go to localhost / the name of our file, which was fashion, / the name of that file, which was installer.php, because it's a PHP file. Now when we hit return, some amazing things should happen. It should pop up with a little installer questionnaire. There we go. And here we are. And just want to check the little box. I've read and accept all the terms and notices. Hit next. Now, we've got to tell it where we want it to put everything now. And I'm going to connect and remove all data, because we're going to connect and remove all data from the database that we just created called Fashion, but there's nothing in there, so it doesn't matter. Host is localhost, because we're working locally here. Database name, and it was just Fashion, wasn't it? And just copy that. Username was Fashion, and the password was also Fashion. I don't recommend you do this, but I'm just doing it for expediency. We want to create a decent password and some interesting name. Okay, so we put all that information in there. Let's test it to see if it's going to work. Test database. Okay, it says success. Fine, good. Okay, let's hit the next button. That all looks good. And hit the yes button. And here it goes. It's a pretty lightweight site, so that didn't take any time at all. So let's hit the next. And it's telling us the new URLs it's going to put in. The old URLs are the ones that we had on the site here, which would have been system22, net fashion, etc., etc. It's got to change all that to localhost, which it's going to do here. So we'll hit the next button. And now we just need to log into our site. And this login is exactly the same login that you used for your WordPress site. So it's the same login that you used to get into your online site before. I've got mine remembered. That's what that little plugin does that I was talking about just now. And there we are, we're in our site. First thing we want to do is remove the installation file. And that's fine, we've done that. And any stored data, because it just takes up space. And clear the build cache. If it's a large site, you might want to leave this step for a little while, make sure there's nothing still building, but this is a small site, so it shouldn't be a problem at all. And that's a little warning that they've given us, just like I said. Okay, we've now got our site on our local host. Let's test it out. Let's visit our site. There we are. As you can see, it's on our local host. So it's on our local computer here, and we can play and edit, do what we want with it, migrate it to another online provider if we want to. Just make sure it works. Yep, that worked absolutely fine. And that is a really simple way of doing things. Like I say, in the next video, we'll do it using a database migration rather than using a plugin. Occasionally the plugin won't work on larger sites, or if there's some kind of database or database compatibility issue. So there you go. I hope you found that useful.